Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Startups Meet Pharma webinar. We will be starting very shortly. Let's just wait for one more minute for additional members to join, and then we will start with the webinar. Okay, let's wait for a few more seconds, and then we will begin. Okay. I think it's fine for us to start. For any additional participants joining later, they can also take a look at the recording afterwards. So I think we're good to go. So welcome everyone once again officially to the Startups Meet Pharma webinar. This is the first webinar in a series that we will do over the next 3 months. My name is Buena, and I'm the program manager of the Startups Meet Pharma program. And today, basically, I'd like to discuss with you and present to you the current open challenge that we have in partnership with Abbott. I will now start sharing my presentation, and then today's webinar will be split, let's say, in 2 parts. We will start with a presentation about the open challenge, and also I'll tell you a little bit more about our organization, and then we will follow up with a Q&A session. I'm here to clarify any open questions that you may have, and of course discuss how you can benefit from the program itself. In case you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them towards the end of the presentation. Please use the Q&A tab to write down your answers, and additionally, I'm happy to take also the answers via email if necessary afterwards. This webinar is being recorded, and together with the slides, it will be shared tomorrow with you through the email that you use to register for this webinar. And additionally, at the end of the webinar, we will send a very quick survey regarding the potential, your interest in applying for the program and having maybe an additional meetings with me. Therefore, please take your time. It will literally be 1 minute of your time to answer it, and we will also provide us with a little bit of feedback as to how the webinar went. So, as I mentioned, we will start with a brief introduction of our organization. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but we, as EIT Health, we are basically one of the 9 knowledge and innovation communities set by the European Institute of Innovation and Technology to actually drive innovation and entrepreneurship around Europe. We, as EIT Health, we do exactly that with a specific focus on healthcare. I apologize. As I mentioned, we are funded by the European Union, and we basically are the largest, Europe's largest community of healthcare innovators. What we do is we collaborate with not only our partners, but also other external organizations, startups, also researchers, etc., with the goal to drive healthcare entrepreneurship and innovation across Europe and improve patients' life and also strengthen our healthcare systems. We are a partnership-based organization, as I mentioned, and we have over 120 European partners that come from both research, academia, and industry. Here you can find the logos of our organization, and if you would like to learn more about our community, about our ecosystem, and the collaboration opportunities that it offers, feel free to reach out. You can reach out basically to your prospective offices in the regions where you live, because we are all across Europe. So we have 7 offices, one in Austria, one that represents Germany and Switzerland in Munich, one in Scandinavia, one that covers the Benelux countries, Ireland, UK, France, and Spain. We also have additional offices that cover the rest of the European countries. We have the Regional Innovation Scheme that covers, for example, Croatia, Estonia, Greece, Latvia, etc. And we have the InnoStars part of our organization that covers Hungary, Italy, Poland, and Portugal. We have 2 satellite offices as well. One is situated in Israel and the other one in the USA. If you are, as I mentioned, interested to learn more about our organization and the opportunities that it offers, you can find on our website the specific teams working in these countries, and feel free to reach out to them. We're now basically coming to the beginning of the Startups Meet Pharma program, and prior to explaining the open challenge for you, I'd like to tell you how it all began. Basically, the program was launched 6 years ago in 2019, and it was co-designed together with the pharmaceutical companies that were part of our network, who were looking for more structured ways how to collaborate with external startups, so young, innovative health tech companies working on the forefront of healthcare innovation. We're very happy to say that since then we have the program has gained quite a lot of traction, and it has resulted in over 25 collaborations. In essence, the Startups Meet Pharma is a challenge-based matchmaking program, which means that anyone who is interested in, from the corporate side, who is interested in exploring potentially a technology area or a disease area with external partners, they can join the program and release a challenge in an area which is of interest to them. So the program is not only open to specific pharmaceutical companies, but also to any life sciences corporation or a medtech corporation. And then on our side, EAT Health, what we do is we scout, we pre-vet, and we train these startups with the goal whose product or technology fits the challenge. And therefore, we make sure that the corporate innovation teams that have released the challenge, they find either the partner that they need or the technology that they need in order to solve potentially a business problem that they're experiencing, or identify maybe a new opportunity, expand their product portfolio, etc., etc. So when corporations join the program, each of them has, let's say, a different idea in mind, what they would like to do with the selected startups. All of this basically is part of the challenge statement, and additionally, it is shared with the selected startups upon the selection. But I'll tell you more about it afterwards. So the way that the program is organized is it's a little bit like, imagine it as a shortcut to a partnership with a large corporation. Why? So the program first takes place fully online. It is split in 3 parts, but prior to the actual program implementation, we as EIT Health, we open up a public call for applications where we invite startups that fit the challenge to apply for the program. And during this period, we also hold webinars to explain further the program, such as this one today. After the call is closed, the deadline for this challenge will be on the 26th of September. Then Abbott, who is sponsoring this challenge, will continue to do the selection of the startups, and 5 startups will be selected into the program. Then these 5 startups will go through these 3 modules. In module number 1, basically this one is already scheduled. It will take place between the 22nd and the 24th of October 2025. We have 3 workshops for you. One is with the Abbott team who is releasing the challenge. Another one is with a pitch trainer, and a third one is with an innovation manager inside a pharma company who will help you to readjust your value proposition. But I will tell you more in details how the program looks like later. In module 2, we call this a partnership exploration meetings, because this is the first time that the selected startups will meet individually with the Abbott team, and they will pitch their product or technology together with a tailored partnership proposal that you will put together in module 1. And then after module 2, Abbott basically will make a selection which of these startups they would like to continue the conversation with, and only these startups will be invited to module 3, which we call it a partnership building meeting, for the reason that it goes one step further. And at that moment, Abbott or any other corporate that has invited the startups to this module already shows some commitment to a potential future partnership, and more details about it are being discussed. As I mentioned, we've been running the program for 6 years now, and we've basically had quite some success stories along the way. 24 challenges in total have been released. This year, we also released 2 more from the Abbott series, which means we need to update these numbers at the end of the year. 410 applications have been received, 84 startups or SMEs have been supported, and 28 collaborations initiated until 2023. The results from 2024 are not incorporated here as they're still under NDAs. On the other side, you will see the previous sponsors of the program. So you can see that we've also collaborated with a medtech organization, also diagnostics organization, and we've also expanded the program into healthcare providers and insurance companies. So you can also see some hospitals here as well. Here are some, let's say, examples of previous challenges that have been released by other pharmaceutical companies. And this is only to show you that the challenges that they have released are always in a different disease area. It's never repetitive. And the number of applications per challenge is not very big because I would say that it's quite selective, the program, and only startups that fully fit the challenge can apply and actually get a chance to meet with a corporate. So as you can see, the number of applications is usually around 25 to 30. And then a specific number of startups are selected to participate in the program. This year, the number is limited to 5. In the past, it was there was no limit, but now it's 5 startups. We've had, for example, Synthetica in the past, a Swiss company that was looking for innovative solutions for pain management. They had a rather broad challenge, I would say. They were exploring the field and therefore they received quite a lot of applications, in my view, 29. They picked 7 startups to actually talk to, and in the end, I think they picked 2. On the other hand, for example, we had Novartis. They were looking for, they had a little bit more of a narrow challenge, and at that time they only received 23 applications for that challenge. Nonetheless, this didn't stop them. They actually met with 8 startups in the program. But it's just to show you that this is not a program where we expect 100 applications to come in, and we encourage startups that fully comply with the challenge or partially comply. For example, you can only have implemented so far only some of the features that Abbott is looking for, but we also encourage you to apply nonetheless. In terms of the success stories that we've had along in the program, I'm happy to present here 2, for example. We had a Greek startup, Collaborate Healthcare. I think this was in 2020 when they applied for the challenge set by Amgen. Amgen at that time were looking for solutions that would enable continuity in treatment strategy and optimization for post-myocardial infarction patients. And Collaborate Healthcare basically was able to go through, let's say, 10 partnership exploration meetings. They were selected in the end. They did a pilot project on a national level in Greece, and that pilot project was translated on a European level. On the other hand, we've had Takeda. Takeda, they are a recurring client in the program, and I think it was in 2022. They were looking for adult ADHD digital solutions. They teamed up with a German startup called Peak Profiling, and they made an investment in them. So the type of a collaboration, I would say, is maybe something that already is set by the pharma company, but also there is opportunity to explore this and maybe expand and go beyond the initial idea. So we've had, let's say that most of our success stories or most of the collaborations that have taken place, they are actually pilot project, but we've also had a number of investments and a licensing deal as well. With that, basically, I'd like to conclude the part about our organization and what we've done so far and move to the challenge series, which was opened by Abbott in 2024 and is lasting in now. In this series, Abbott actually launched 3 challenges. However, today we're talking about the 3rd and the last in this series, which was opened on the 10th of June. So on this slide, you can actually take a look at the pink line, and this is the one which actually refers to the webinar that we are today. In this challenge, basically Abbott is looking for innovative approaches that would help them assess the immune status in healthy subjects using minimally or non-invasive methods. So let me tell you a little bit about, let's say, before that. So what is the need? So Abbott actually identified the need for more practical or portable methods that would be able to quantify the immune health in healthy individuals using minimally invasive techniques, or in order to ensure easy compliance and reduce the barrier to participation in clinical trials. Having that said, basically, we are now looking for innovative, minimally or non-invasive solutions that would be able to assess the immune status and function in healthy individuals by identifying or quantifying immune biomarkers. These approaches can basically include digital biomarkers, it can include wearables, AI analytics, novel immune indicators, or any non-invasive samplings. The idea is that basically these methods should then deliver quantitative, interpretable, clinically relevant insights, of course, be cost effective and enable rapid deployment at the point of care, especially within clinical trials. The intended use for the solution that they're looking for is actually something that they're hoping to be ready by 2027, but actually the solution will be used for clinical testings of immune benefits in new Abbott nutritional products in both adult and pediatric populations by the Abbott research teams. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about the features of this intended and ideal solution for Abbott. The first and most important feature of the solution is the non-invasiveness or the minimally invasive feature. So let's say that they're looking for something that there would be no blood draw required. Samples can include, for example, a blood spot, breath, saliva, stool, urine, nasal swabs, or similar. On the other hand, they're also interested in taking a look at maybe some sample independent methods like imaging, heart rate, temperature, or wearable data sensors. The second one is the no need for extended cold storage. So basically, they would be looking for a solution that would be able to perform analysis only with a sampling, or it can be stored at a room temperature. Clinically meaningful, what we mean by this is that the measures that are impacted by the changes in nutrition and relevant to the immune health should be based on existing literature. The low cost for implementation of this solution, basically it would mean that the cost should be either comparable to or lower than existing sampling and analysis methodologies which are used in clinical trials. Abbott basically would like to see maybe potential prior examples of the technology used in a clinical setting or maybe a published literature and evidence supporting regulatory agency approval of the results if applicable. For them, it would be very important that this solution will be fit for scalability for large cohort studies and, of course, easy to use, maybe even potentially without prior medical background, because they would basically, the target population is healthy pediatric and adult population. And basically, they would even imagine the test being administered by the subject themselves, a parent, a guardian, or maybe a healthcare professional like a nurse or a lab technician. In terms of the timeline for the program, what we're looking now is that we have the open call until the 26th of September. Then the selection will begin immediately afterwards, and hopefully by mid-October it will be finished, and all selected and non-selected applicants will be informed. Module 1 is set to begin on the 22nd until the 24th of October, Module 2 on the 3rd of November, and Module 3 on the 3rd of December. But in terms of, let's say, the actual time allocation into the program, I'd like to tell you that it's not a full day that you need to book into the program. Let me explain to you a little bit better about what is expected in terms of time allocation. So as I mentioned before in Module 1, which I will go back to the slide and tell you more in details about the modules itself. But as I said, we have three workshops taking place in Module 1. So you already have here the dates and the time slots for these workshops. For example, the corporate workshop with Abbott will take place on the 22nd of October from 3 to 5. So you only need to reserve this basically time in your agenda. The value proposition support on the 23rd of October from 1:30 till 4 o'clock. And the pitch training is an individual pitch training, so you only need to book 30 minutes on the 24th of October, which I will share, of course, with the selected startups after that. But in total, you need to spend around 4 hours in module one. Then in module two, you have 1 hour meeting with the Abbott team, which basically is your one-on-one with the Abbott team, where you will pitch your solution or technology, and then a discussion will follow where the Abbott team will have a prepared set of questions for you that you need to answer, and of course get to know each other a little bit better. This also has already been set, so if you are selected, then either on the 3rd or on the 5th of November, between 3 and 5, you will be sent 1 hour of a calendar invite where you need to pitch your solution. If you are selected in module 3, which means that in module 2, you only have 1 hour of in total. In module 3, if you're selected, it's the same thing. 1 hour meeting that you will get with additional Abbott stakeholders that will take place on the 3rd of December between 3:30 and 5:30. So when we started already talking about the modules, let me tell you just a little bit more about them in details, and maybe this will clarify some things for you. In module 1, so what is the goal? The module 1 is a little bit of a preparation for your meeting with Abbott. What does it consist of? It consists of 3 workshops. We call it a challenge workshop, which is run by the Abbott team. During this workshop, the Abbott team presents the challenge itself. You also get to know the team who is running the challenge inside Abbott, and you will also get the opportunity to ask as many questions as you want. Why? Because Abbott is expecting a partnership proposal from your side to be discussed in module 2. Therefore, if you have any questions regarding the challenge itself after you are basically selected, if you have any questions about what is Abbott expecting, how do they plan this to look like, what does the partnership need to look like for them, all of this you can ask during the workshop with them. And of course, they explain more in details the challenge itself, so the technical side of it, the expectations, what was the problem that they were having, how they would like to get it solved, etc., etc. Then, in addition to that, you will receive a value proposition workshop with an innovation manager inside a pharma company. So we have someone who is working with us for a long time now, and what he does is basically he takes a look at your suggestion for Abbott. What is it that you would like to present to them, and discusses with you what are the most common, let's say, mistakes that startups make when dealing with a pharma company. We've had the situation in the past where startups didn't really imagine what it would look like. And in order to basically prepare you a little bit in terms of expectations, this is a very good workshop. He also presents the most common startup pharma or startup corporate collaboration opportunities in terms of mergers and acquisitions, pilot projects, etc. And it explains quite a lot about how does a pharma work and how do they do innovation. So it's someone from the inside who can tell you and can prepare you for what's coming up next. And lastly, we have a pitch training. As I mentioned, it's a 30-minute pitch training with our pitch trainer, Christoph, to fine-tune your pitching skills. So he will very quickly take a look at your slides and potentially provide feedback if they need any improvement, as well as listen to your pitching skills. So the goal for module 1, as I mentioned, is to prepare you for module 2, where you actually will meet the Abbott team. And it's only 4 hours of your time. And trust me, all of these workshops are super beneficial for you, even if you don't basically get selected for the last part. Then we reach module 2. So this is the core of the program, I would say. This is your one-on-one opportunity to discuss with the Abbott team, with the ones that have put forward the challenge. And bear in mind that since you're already selected, it's already a sign from the Abbott team that they're interested not only to learn more, but potentially even explore at this meeting how they can work with you. The meeting is usually 45 minutes up to 1 hour. We start with a pitch from your side lasting approximately 10 minutes. maybe followed by a demo in case you already have it from your product or technology. And then it's mostly a Q&A, let's say, session where Abbott has invited stakeholders from the relevant teams, and each of them asks a certain amount of questions. The idea is for them to get to know you a little bit better, the product or technology that you have, and also to potentially, of course, see more in depth what is it that you have, because at that moment, the only thing that they will receive from you is your slide deck and an application form filled by you. So it's also a way to get to know the team for them as well. And that's why we invite everyone from your team who is available to join that meeting. And I would say it's a very it's a quite straightforward conversation. They will be very much prepared for your company, and in addition to that, it's also an opportunity for you not only to pitch but also to ask any additional questions and explore other collaboration opportunities. And then module 3. So as I mentioned, after module 2, Abbott will select the startups that they would like to continue the conversation with. And these are usually the startups that will finally end with some sort of a partnership proposal. It's also very important to say at this moment that after the match is done in module 3, then we as the AT Health, we are no longer involved in the program, but then the corporate takes over, and they are the ones who continue the conversation and set up the next meetings and, of course, set the dynamics for the future partnership. In module 3, it is basically a continuation of the conversation that was initially started in module 2. However, in module 3, additional stakeholders are divided. So usually these are decision makers who have the power to decide on a potential partnership with an external partner. And let's say other interested parties from the Abbott side will be invited to these meetings. So you can also expect that you will need to pitch once again, as there will be new people involved in this meeting, and answer a new round of questions. Nonetheless, if you are already selected for module 3, it's a very good sign, as Abbott will already be able to share more information about the potential partnership with you and discuss let's say, the next details. We've discussed about the timeline and the time allocation into the program. Once again, I'd like to remind you that in total, you need to spend around 5 hours spread across 3 months into the program. And then if you are selected, of course, 1 additional hour. Maybe at this point, it's also important to note that sometimes the corporate would like to request an additional meeting in module 2. This is the reason for this is that sometimes 1 hour is not enough. And in order for them to make an informed decision about who to invite to module 3, sometimes the corporate asks for an additional meeting. But of course, you will be informed about this in due time. In terms of applying for the program and the reasons why do it, so I would say the biggest advantage of getting selected into this type of a program and applying is the opportunity to have one-on-one with the pharma executives. And especially since this is a challenge-based program, that already means that they have identified a problem and they have identified you as a potential solver of this problem. So it's let's say that as I mentioned at the beginning, it's a shortcut to a potential partnership with a pharma company, and it's a very, I would say, fast forward approach to potentially, getting a new partner such as a large corporation. In addition to that, the trainings that we offer, as I mentioned in the module 1, they're quite beneficial, even in the end, if you're not selected for the last stage, because you get to talk with, first, of course, you will receive your pitch training. In addition to that, you will get a free workshop on how to partner up with a pharma company, how to approach them, what is the best way forward, how do they function, and this can basically help you in your future. In addition to that, talking to pharma executives and innovation managers inside large corporation can help you get the market validation and some credibility. In addition, visibility among important stakeholders in the healthcare field. And lastly, as you're part of our network and our ecosystem, we also offer a lot more than just the Startups Meet Pharma program. And this can be your opportunity to explore further what we have to offer and meet with, let's say, like-minded peers and see what else we have on the table for you. What is next in terms of application? So the application goes through our online platform. You have basically on the next slides the link to it, and the application starts with a creation of a company profile. You need to insert some of the data for your company, name, address, registration certificate, etc., etc. And then right after that, you will be taken to let's say the page where you have all the open programs at this moment, and you need to click on the Startups Meet Pharma program and answer and open an application form for that program. There are a total of 12 questions that need to be answered. Some of them basically are questions where you need to write an answer. However, a lot of them are simply from a drop-down menu or a multiple choice question. Therefore, this is mentioned only for you to know that it shouldn't take a lot of your time to actually fill it in. There is only one, I would say, very important part of the application form. These are the questions which are related to the challenge itself and how your product or technology fits this challenge. And these are the most important ones. So please focus on them, I would say. Lastly, you will be able to upload your pitch deck or any other supporting document that you seem relevant for this application. Of course, after every question that we are asking for a written answer, there are instructions how to fill it in. Therefore, I would strongly suggest that you just follow these instructions and answer them in a way. And lastly, do not forget, please click on the Save button after every section of the application form. However, if you have any, let's say, questions about some questions from the application, or if you experience any technical problems, feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I'd be happy to solve let's say, the challenge that you're experiencing. What are the next steps in terms of your application for the program? So first, I would highly suggest that you check the eligibility for the program. We are only accepting applications from registered entities that are registered in the European Union, the Switzerland, or Horizon Europe associated country. Take a closer look at the challenge document. So this is a PDF file, which the link is also included here, but we also have it on our website. The challenge is described more into details, and it may help you basically to better prepare your application form. You can create your company, as I mentioned, on the online portal and then submit your application. The application should be submitted by the end of working hours on the 26th of September, so by 4:59. We will send this slide tomorrow together with the recording of this webinar, and inside the slides there will be a QR code which will directly take you to my bookings page, and you can book a 15-minute slot with me at any time, and then I'd be happy to answer, let's say, more questions that you may have, or simply discuss your application form. With this, I stopped sharing now, and I would like to once again thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. And with this, I'd like to open the floor for some questions. I will now take a look at the Q&A. It is still loading for me. Okay. So Salima has asked, how many startups will be accepted? And so there will be a total of 5 startups selected into the program, up to 5. So Salima has also asked, do we need to have a BIC in the EIT EU platform to be able to apply? How does it work? So Salima, I don't know exactly what you mean by BIC. As I mentioned, in order to apply, you need to be a registered entity in the European Union countries, Switzerland, and Horizon Europe associated countries. So in order for you to apply, you only need to upload your registration certificate to prove that you have a registered entity in one of these countries. If big is something specific, please, I kindly ask you to write what exactly does it mean, and then I can take a look afterwards. So Darius has asked, do you already need to be incorporated as a company to be eligible for this application, or is it okay as you are in the process of being incorporated? So usually we only accept incorporated companies, but if you can actually prove that by the time that the selection is done or potentially the first module begins, you will be able to be incorporated, this is also fine. So with this in regard, you can simply put like a proof of that in your application form. We will take a look at it. And then, of course, you'll be like a conditionally accepted into the program pending final approval of your registration into the registry of the specific country. Okay. Is there a cost for the application process? No, of course, Gilles is asking, but no, there is no cost to the application process. It's, of course, free. And as I mentioned, it shouldn't take a lot of time to actually go through the application questions and answer them. Okay, let me take a look at the other ones. Do you need to be at a specific technology readiness level at application? This is a question set by Varsha. So Varsha, no. At this time, Abbott is very much open to exploring, let's say, partnership opportunities with startups that are at a different stages of maturity. So yes, there is basically no at this one. Okay, let me take a look the other ones because I believe now more people are writing in the chat. Let me just switch to the chat option. And then, of course, yes, as I mentioned, if I'm not able to answer all of your questions now, I'm happy to take them afterwards. Okay. What is the cost of the existing immune health test? What is the target cost that any new methodology would need to have? So, Roy, in this regard, I would basically advise you to maybe compare existing immune health tests, which you are able to find, let's say, through a market research analysis done online or potentially in the country that you're situated in. However, what Abbott basically would like to say is that, of course, this should be somehow of a low-cost technology to be implemented. So if it's very, let's say, cost extensive, I don't want to say that it won't be taken into consideration because, of course, in the end, it's the results and the analysis which is being delivered as a product of that test is most important. However, it's just something that they would like to maybe see that it is a low-cost implementation. Is there a cost for the application process? So Gilles, no, once again, there is no cost for the application process. Okay, this is the other question that you have to be an incorporated or in the process of incorporation and therefore deliver a proof of that. Okay, let me just go. Okay, so there is a question regarding the Irish UK hub. I advise you to take a look at our website where you can find a specific page for all the hubs across Europe, and you can also see the team members who work there and their email addresses. You can reach out to them through our website. Okay, the link for the application. So Hanan, the link for the application, maybe we can, Maria, Barbara, maybe we can put it already in the chat. However, you will also receive it as it's the link, you will receive it through the slides as it is already included in one of the slides. In additionally, Hanan, you can open our website of the program, Startups Meet Pharma. You can go to the Open Challenge and therefore you also have the link for application there. Okay. Okay. Basically, I don't see any other questions in the chat section. I will go once again to the Q&A section. Take a look there. No. Okay. So we still have around 20 minutes left, and I'm happy to take any further questions, but also bear in mind that you will receive the slides. You have my email on the slides. You will also have a QR code, which will directly take you to a link where you can book a slot with me and discuss this further. So if any other questions arise after the webinar, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Okay. Okay. Also, so as I mentioned, if you have any other questions now or even later, feel free to reach out at any time. There's plenty of time left for the application. So the application deadline is the 26th of September. However, of course, I would not advise you to wait until the last minute. But take a look at the application questions, and then some other questions might arise for you, and then reach out once again. We also have a second webinar, which will take place at the beginning of August. But at this moment, if you have any specific questions, I just advise you to send me a direct email or book a slot with me and then have an individual one-on-one session. There was another question in the Q&A. I'm opening it now. Okay. No, apologies. That was a comment. We have now included in the chat section, we have now included the link for application, which you can also find it, as I said, on the website and on the specific web page for the open challenge at the moment. But Hanan, you have now here the link. Okay, we can wait for a couple of more minutes in case any other questions arise. But once again, I remain at your disposal for any additional questions and clarification in terms of the application procedure, eligibility requirements, or just a product challenge fit, or anything that you may need. Okay. Well, I see there's no further questions. Therefore, I believe that I can save you 20 minutes of your time. And once again, I remind you that for any further questions, feel free to reach out individually to me. And once again, I'd like to thank you for participating in the webinar, taking the time to be here today, and also putting forward your questions. I hope to receive your applications and, of course, work together with you in the future. Thank you once again for your participation, and I wish you a good day ahead. Goodbye.